My wig! My portrait!
Who would have thought that someone would make the popular saying "cat with 9 lives" and turn it into a movie involving an actual cat? And to spice it up a little, the cat is left with just 1 life after losing 8 lives fighting bad guys. Well, this is the plot of Puss in Boots 2. As great as the movie was, we all know that there's no way DreamWorks is gonna make a movie without sneaking in a hidden detail or two. So in today's video, I will take you on a journey into Puss in Boots 2 and all the hidden secrets you missed.
Corre, corre, gatito.
Do you remember Gingy from the Shrek franchise? Well, the makers thought to throw him into Puss in Boots as an Easter egg for viewers to catch. Gingy is a secondary character in Shrek movies and one of Shrek's best friends. So, quite early in the Puss in Boots, after Puss gets killed when a giant bell falls on him and crushes him, he goes to see a doctor who gives him the bad news that he has reached the end of his 9 lives. This leads to a series of interesting and wild flashbacks to his past deaths. In one of those deaths, we see both Puss and the gingerbread man making something in a really big oven. They seem to be having a lot of fun until when they opened the oven and huge flames escaped, burning both of them to death. At least that's what it looks like. In the last installment of Shrek, gingerbread man looks like he was still alive, hale and hearty, so this event might have actually taken place after the movie ended, and since there are rumors about Shrek 5 coming, who knows? Maybe this event could be explored in more detail. How will Shrek cope with losing one of his best friends? Hopefully, Disney decides to answer this question soon enough.
What are you doing in my swamp?
If you watch Shrek, you'll remember the Wicked Witch. She wasn't really a major character in the Shrek franchise, but she does make a secret appearance in Puss in Boots 2 that many people definitely didn't catch. Remember the scene after Puss gets his results from the doctor and leaves the room? Well, if you were watching carefully, you would have noticed the Wicked Witch among the several people seated in the waiting room. It was a quick scene, and you may have to watch it a few times before you catch it. But if you caught it, then you might be wondering why the Wicked Witch was there to see a doctor. I mean, if she was sick or something, could she not have just made herself a healing potion or cast a spell or something? If you remember the Shrek movies, you'll remember the scene where the Wicked Witch was turned in by a villager for 20 pieces of silver. So maybe they did something to her to strip her power, or maybe she's on a magical parole. Anyways, that's not really the point of the movie, but it was great to see that the movie makers hid some things for viewers to catch.
Me? Retire? Are you the village comedian as well?
Puss is definitely the king of mischief. This is how he came about to lose almost all of his 9 lives. Puss in Boots 2 gave viewers a glimpse into many different ways Puss lost his 9 lives. In one, we see that Puss lost one of his lives after playing a game of poker with a group of dogs. I mean, it would have gone well and ended well if Puss didn't decide to cheat. That clearly was a stupid mistake. We all know cats and dogs are not the best of friends, and even in cases where there is no clear tension between the two, fights can still break out. So, Puss is going ahead to cheat at the game clearly reflected his signature skill of making bad choices. When the dogs found out that he cheated, they didn't spare him. They attacked him and killed him in the process. Apart from the scene being a clear reference to the tense relationship between dogs and cats and also a warning against cheating at poker games, it was also a reference to the painting titled Dogs Playing Poker. It's interesting to note that the series of paintings were commissioned by Brown and Bigelow to advertise cigars. Crazy, right?
I am a cat.
I have 9 lives.
Puss in Boots without a cameo from Shrek and Donkey would have been incomplete. So this was one interesting and definitely nostalgic Easter egg in Puss in Boots. We all know that Shrek and Donkey are the main stars of the Shrek universe. No offense to Fiona though. Well, we got to see them again in Puss in Boots 2. In the scene where Puss looks back on his life reminiscing about the past, we see a brief shot of the 3 characters silhouetted against a glowing moon. This scene was clearly taken from the previous Shrek movies and was a way of paying homage to the movie and characters that birthed Puss in Boots.
Baby! Track that cat.
Fans of Goldilocks and the 3 Bears were not ready for the reference made in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I mean, no one wants their favorite story to be rewritten and their favorite characters turned into villains, but one won't deny that the villains in Puss in Boots 2 were among the interesting parts of the movie, and Goldilocks and the 3 Bears were formidable villains. In the movie, we see Goldilocks and the 3 Bears give Puss a really tough time. Just like Puss, Goldilocks is also after the last wish, which she wants to use to regain her biological family, and she was willing to go to any extreme to get it. But it was obvious later on that Goldilocks wasn't really a bad villain. All she wanted was to reunite with their family.
Why would I listen to a porridge-stealing orphan like you? You're not even a bear.
Do you remember the scene in Puss in Boots where the baby's bear's head gets stuck in the cage of bees? This was definitely a hilarious and rib-cracking scene and could have been just that. But alas, it wasn't just a random scene the producers thought of. It was actually a reference to the iconic movie The Wicker Man starring Nicolas Cage. In the movie, his head gets locked in a mini cage and a swarm of bees were poured into it. If you watch this then, you'll remember him screaming, "Not the bees!" What makes this scene really interesting is the fact that Nicolas Cage was supposed to voice Shrek, but he turned down the role. So maybe this reference was a way the producers wanted Cage to know that he lives rent-free in their heads.
After so many years of searching, this is my moment.
Puss in Boots threw in other references not just from Shrek alone. In the story of one of the movie's villains, we get an interesting reference to the story of the boy whose nose grew anytime he lied. I'm talking about none other than Pinocchio. This reference pops up in the story of Big Jack Horner, a feared pastry chef and a crime lord who has a history of stealing various magical items, creatures, and people after he was snubbed of fairy tale fame. He plots to reach the wishing star in order to fulfill his wish to harness all magic on the planet. In his story, we see him giving a performance and people leaving a show and trooping to see the performance of a magic puppet boy, and many will immediately recognize this reference to Pinocchio, the puppet boy.
What about my boat? Puss and Boots!
In the final moments of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, we see Puss, Kitty Softpaws, and their new friend Perito hijack a ship and make their way to see some old friends. Which old friends, you might wonder? Well, if you remember the Shrek movies, then you'll know that Shrek, Fiona, Donkey, and the rest of the gang reside in Far, Far Away, which is where Puss and his gang were headed to. With the rumors about a possible installment for Shrek 5, this detail may just be the hint fans needed. Imagine Puss having had his own fill of adventure, goes back to see Shrek and the rest of the crew for yet another adventure. There has been no green light for Shrek 5, but given these many references to the movie in Puss in Boots, one won't be wrong to begin to wonder what DreamWorks has in store for their fans.
Puss in Boots laughs in the face of death. Bounty hunter.
And that is all on the hidden secrets you might have missed in Puss in Boots. If you enjoyed watching this video, please let me know what you think in the comments. And if you think there are some secrets that I missed, you can also drop them in the comments. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, make sure you click on that subscribe button so you get notified when we post new videos.
Where are we headed anyways?
Off to find new adventures and to see some old friends.